raise hand. And when you are called upon, then you will know that you are called upon. And here's one of the magic things about the raise hand feature. It keeps people in the order in which they raise their hand. So when Brenda's looking for the first 5 people to answer this question, she'll know which one you are. So you'll find the raise hand feature again under the reactions button. And that is how you can be an engaged participant in this community. Brenda.
I love it. It's always a great introduction from Christopher. Thank you so much, Christopher. And before I turn the floor over, I just want to see if Christopher, if you would like to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your business, anything you're working on right now, and then I will come back to the group here.
Well, thank you very much. So, Christopher Johnson, the name of my company is Calm Clear Communications. And what I do is help people put on engaging virtual events, whether it's a conference, a webinar, or a workshop. I take the stress and headache away by handling all the tech and letting the presenter or the conference do what they need to do without any of that stress headache.
All right. And anything that you're working on that you'd like to tell us about right now?
Not that is public. So a lot of my clients, they're doing, in-house things. But hey, TEDx Detroit is coming up September 28th. So that is a big event that is in the works. And Brenda, I understand you submitted an application to be one of our speakers.
I did. You know, what's interesting is you submit the speaker application using a Google Forms and you upload a video, and then you get like a confirmation page. But I didn't get a confirmation email. I'm like, I hope it went through. I don't know if it went through, but we'll hopefully keep our fingers crossed. We'll see. Honestly, it's up to the universe. If I don't get selected, it's okay. If I do, I'll be freaking out. So there's that. But it's going to be a delight to come to see the event because it's always a great event to attend. So all right. Well, thank you, Christopher, for being on, for the warm welcome and introduction for everyone. And I'm going to go ahead and get us kicked off on here. And I want to say good morning and welcome to all of you. This is our weekly for now, Friday VIP Job Seeker Office Hours. I say weekly for now because we've got about, what is it, today? And I think 2 more weeks of weekly calls, and then we're going to be moving to monthly. So excuse me, a little frog in my throat there. Get my cup of coffee. Hopefully you've got your coffee, your beverage of choice in front of you here. So our weekly Friday VIP Job Seeker Office Hours, we've been doing these for about 3 years now. We started during the pandemic, and it's always been something that I've offered to those of you who are in career transition, typically not by choice. And I know that you might not be glad that you're on the call here today because it means you're not back to work, or maybe you are glad that you're on the call here today because you're starting to surround yourself with fellow job seekers and you're going to find a great community inside here. But whatever brings you here, I am delighted that you are here. I am glad that you are here. And I want to take a quick peek through and see who's here. While I'm doing that, I'm going to take a second to see who the all-stars are that will be joining us here today. So good morning and welcome to all of you. Good morning to Jeff, Adrina, Amanda, Andrew, Bev, Bunny, Christopher. I'm going to make you a co-host as long as you're able to stay on the meeting. And Christopher, I have a Zoom question. A question came up from 2 different people this week. Maybe you can help us with that. Colleen, Dana, David, Dean, Debbie, Esmeralda, Julia, my intern's on with us. Thank you for your help in the background, Julia. Julia B, Karen, Carl, Katie. We have Kenneth Lang, who will be intermittently in and out on our call today, but always appreciate you being on with us here, Kenneth. He's one of our all-stars. Things are shifting around in the order because more people are joining, which is a good thing. Let me see where I lost track here. Carl, Katie, Laura, Lisa, Mary, Mike. Mindy is also one of our all-stars. Good morning and welcome to you, Mindy. I'm going to make you a co-host. Let's see, where would I leave off? Laura, Lisa, Mary, Mike, Nicole, Oksana, Randy, Scott, Shelly, Sherry, nice to see you again. Hey, Stuart. And we've got Sue Griffey, who is one of our all-stars. Let me see if I can make her a co-host on here. And the co-host kind of helped me with behind the scenes stuff too. if we ever need any behind the scenes things needed as well. And then we've got, I think I said Stuart, Wendy, and Valerie. And there's more folks that are joining. By the way, the time is now 10:05, and this is the point in time I like to say, go ahead and drop your introduction into chat. And you don't have to say, hi, this is Brenda Meller, because Zoom will already say Brenda Meller to everyone. I just put into chat the introduction. I like to see just very high level, short, because we don't want to have 5 paragraphs to scroll through on the Zoom here. But tell us your targeted job title. Maybe you have 1 or 2 job titles you're looking for. Tell us your targeted geographic area, where in the world you're looking for work. And then please also share with us your LinkedIn URL. I usually tell people copy and paste it directly from Zoom. 1, so that you get the spelling correct, because if you mistype something, we're not going to be able to get to your link. And 2, because we need to have the HTTPS, because then it's blue and it's clickable and we can actually visit your profile. Okay. So make sure that you do that. And I would recommend this is something you do every time you're in a virtual networking group, a conference, anything where chat is open, because you never know who might be on the call who is aware of a perfect opportunity they can send your way. And also by including your LinkedIn URL with the HTTPS, making it clickable, you're also encouraging people to visit your profile and to connect with you. Okay. So I want to encourage you to do that. What we're going to do next is I'm going to have the All-Stars introduce themselves, tell us a little bit about their businesses, anything that they're working on, because they're going to be helping me with Q&A. And this is my way of paying back to them, to give them the floor in the beginning. And then I might choose 2 or 3 of you who are new to the call. So if you are new, if it's your very first time, I want to give you the floor to introduce yourself. If you would like that opportunity, put the word new in chat, NEW, if you could, and then I will call on you. A way to make it even easier for me to find you is after you put NEW into the chat, go to your reactions at the bottom of your Zoom window and click on the raise hand, and that little hand will come up. Just like Mindy and Kenneth have done, and I'll encourage all the other All-Stars, please raise your hand too. It makes it easier for me to find you in the chat. But I want you to do that. If you type in the word new, if you'd like to introduce yourself, use your raise hand. It makes it a little bit easier for me to see you. All right, so let me go back to gallery view. Trying to remember who are the All-Stars that are on the call here today. Here we go. So we're going to go in this order. I think we've got Kenneth, Mindy, and Sue on with us here today. And Christopher already introduced himself. So we'll go in that order: Kenneth, Mindy, and Sue. And then after Sue, we'll be back to me. So the floor is yours, Kenneth.
Morning, everyone. Great to be here today. And I have my Follow Friday shirt today, which I'm looking forward to sharing with others. A little bit about me. I do job search, career coach for 45 and older. I'm working at Lee Hecht Harrison right now as a brand specialist. Couple of great events this week. Mindy Stern and I will be chatting on Tuesday at my 1 o'clock. 2:30, I have Lions, Tigers, and Resumes with Virginia Franco and Claire Davis. And I just put in the chat, we just launched, this has been a labor of love for me last year, mynetworkingcentral.com, which is going to be a searchable for events and speakers. Anyone who wants to add their contact information, that's great. We've been doing a lot of beta testing. So I'm going to be focusing on that. And I don't want to steal too much of the thunder about Friday, Brenda, but we are going to have a blast in the city. So next up, Mindy.
Thanks, Kenneth. Kenneth didn't mention our topic for Tuesday. We're talking about resilience. So important for everyone. Of course, we only do resilient because stuff happens, but especially for job seekers. So it's going to be a conversation about resilience and with a focus on job seekers. So if you're interested, there's a link in Kenneth's LinkedIn. I don't know if you put it in to the chat, but if you could, that would be great. The other thing I want to make you aware of is kudos to you for being part of this amazing group. I also host a group, and once a month we have calls with guests, and our routine has been that in the summer we have an alumni from the job seeker group who will speak. And so this August 2nd, Jeffrey Ullman, who is an alumni from both Brenda's group and my accelerator group, will be speaking to us about his journey. He documented his journey from job seeker to job winner, and he's going to be speaking about that on August 2nd. I will put the link into the chat so you can register and join us there. It's free, of course, and we'd love to see you. So have a wonderful day, and I'm passing it over to Sue.
Traveling, so I don't have pom-poms. I actually have travel pom-poms and they're at the bottom of my suitcase, so I'm not going to pull them out. This isn't my usual background, and I have a headset, which I hope is helping with the volume better. But I run a global mentoring practice, and what I get and bring to this group is perspectives for people who are trying to understand how to differentiate themselves. Thanks to Christopher, almost a year and a half ago, I came up with the phrase, excavate your evidence. Put your evidence out there, use evidence-based results. And thanks also, Brenda, I was listening to all your podcasts when I was hiking up to a waterfall yesterday, and I needed something to focus on besides climbing up the hill. And you did a great post LinkedIn Live-a-thon analysis, including stats, which I love, but just the idea that you put it out there. I have had people reach out to me, the best friend of someone who's taking a course with me somewhere else on data visualization, happened to listen by accident. So you never know where your impact is, Brenda, Ken, Mindy, Christopher, me, but we all know being here every week, we show up for you. You show up because you want advice and help. Take what works for you from each of us and take it forward and do it for someone else. And back to Brenda.
All right. Thank you so much. I love having Christopher on because the videos just kind of move. Like there's a way in Zoom when you're in speaker view, like you can put people in the spotlight view. And I'm not as fast as he is. And he's like, and he knows what's coming up next. He does the run of show for major events. He is not an amateur, you guys. Like, he is the real deal. We get the real Christopher Johnson on it. I'm so lucky when he's on here. So thank you for doing that, Christopher, for keeping us moving along. All right. So I did say, hey, if there's anyone new that wants to introduce themselves, put the word new inside chat and raise your hand. And I didn't see anybody putting the word new, and I didn't see anybody raising the hand. And I was like, oh, sad, because this is an opportunity for you to get some visibility within the job seeking community. So be like Mike. Remember that song? If I can be like Mike, remember that? So Mike Gates was so brave just now to put the word new into chat. So we're going to do Mike, and then we're going to have two other people. And what I'm going to have Mike do is, Mike, you're going to unmute yourself, and we're going to pull you up into the spotlight right now. And you're going to tell us, first of all, how did you hear about the group? And then I want you to use your introduction that I gave you earlier. So tell us, what is your targeted job title, 1 or 2, targeted geographic area, and hopefully you've already dropped your LinkedIn URL. We don't want to hear the whole life backstory. We want to know those things. How did you hear about the call, targeted job title, and targeted geographic area? And I'm not saying like Mike was going to tell us the whole backstory, but sometimes we get people on, and it's the first time they've had the chance to tell the story. And there is an emotional element that you go through. We're in job search. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But Mike, go ahead. Tell us how you heard about the group, what you're looking for in your targeted geographic area.
My name is Mike Gates. Been in the high-tech industry now for over 40 years. So coming to the conclusion of a lengthy career, I heard about this group and Brenda and the team through a very close friend of mine that works at the Detroit Economic Club, which is a great venue for networking and for getting access to a lot of thought-provoking speakers as it relates to that. So thanks to my good friend, Steve Gregorian, for introducing me into the group. I'm currently transitioning, I think, from just trying to see if I can redefine what I'd like to do in taking my experience and providing consulting, sales operations support, getting out of the day-to-day, carrying the quota kind of a thing, for health reasons, right? Just trying to lower the stress, try to enjoy the final years of the career, and see if I can't lend some assistance to sales teams and sales organizations that are looking to accelerate their business and look for clients that support their endeavors. So.
All right. So it sounds like for you, Mike, it's not looking for a job necessarily, but it's like creating a role for you as a consultant, making a pivot into something
just trying
different.
to understand what my options might be, right? I do like what, the client face-to-face activity. It's definitely taken a hit with COVID and all the working from home environment that we currently face. So it's still kind of evolving.
Well, I'm glad that you shared that story because there probably are at least one or two others on the call as well that are like, okay, I'm at a point in my career where there's a couple paths in front of me and I could go back to the corporate path and I can keep looking for another job, or I might start my own business or consulting firm or coaching, or maybe there's a third possibility I'm not even thinking about. So let's kind of explore that together. But we're glad that you found us. I'm glad that Steve referred
Thanks.
you over to me. Steve's a great guy. I have to agree with you. Detroit Economic Club is an amazing organization. And by the way, for everyone on the call here too, I love that Mike and that all of you are on here because we've created a job seeking community and we're kind of like a safe environment. We're like a bubble inside here, right? Because we're all job seekers and we can share stories and we can bare our soul a bit and we can ask questions in a safe zone because this is we're all in the same boat together, so to speak, right? I like my boat analogies, but we're all in the same boat together here. We're all looking for a job. We're hoping to get off the boat and get back to work or get someplace else. But while we are here, we're here to support each other. And in addition to job seekers that are on the call, we also have people, the all-stars, that will be helping to answer questions today. So I want to encourage you, if you do have any questions for us, go ahead and put the word question in chat and then type in the full question. And I'm just going to do an example. I'm going to say, do you like the Friends TV show, because I'm wearing it right now. And there's a Friends experience here in Metro Detroit at Great Lakes Crossing. And my husband and I are going to go there for our wedding anniversary and do a date night this year because we're both Friends fan. I just put that in as an example, just a random. But if you do have a question related to using LinkedIn for your job search, where to start off in the job search process, if you're just, recently re-entering this phase of your life, any questions that you have regarding your job search, your resume, interviewing, negotiating, feeling stuck, anything like that, just put the word question in all caps and then type out the full question if you could. It does help me if you also click on the raise hand, because then I can call on you and we can talk about your question and I can have the all-stars help to answer. We're also going to cover some success stories. So if you do have a success story that you'd like to share, just like Laura and Lisa have done, I want you to put the word success in all caps. You can be very enthusiastic like Lisa did. She put success with a smiley face with hearts. And I'm like, now I got to know what the success is from Lisa because I'm super excited about that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go, Lisa, you are going to be next. And then after Lisa, we're going to hear Jeff Schultz has his hand raised. So we're going to see what Jeff has to say. And then we'll go to Adriana. Okay, so Lisa, what is happening?
I got a job.
So tell us about it.
Oh my gosh. It's been a long road, but I'm so excited. It's not what I expected. I said I was looking for a nonprofit, but this is working for the city. So it's kind of like a government job, but it's still community engagement and everything. So I'm really I'm excited. There's a lot to be done for the city and I'm excited. It's Pleasant Ridge.
Awesome. So Pleasant Ridge, when you said city, immediately I was like city of Detroit and I was like, oh,
No.
cool, great. But city of Pleasant Ridge. So this is, so what's do you know what the job title is and when do you start working with them?
I start in 11 days.
Yay. And this is full-time.
It's full-time. Benefits are just crazy. And I'm going through all this paperwork. I didn't even know you could offer so much.
Oh, that's great.
Hours are, it's Monday through Thursday. Who could ask for more than that? Because I've been working a lot of nights and weekends and I just can't do that anymore. I don't have a life. So this is really kind of cool. It's with just a couple people that I met them. And they seem really, the environment seems good. The culture seems good. It's not toxic because I'm kind of not in the best place right now. But I'm excited. It's a office administrator with room to grow. Yeah. So this is very cool.
And foot in the door. And I think the important thing is we're changing, for Lisa, if you haven't been following her story, she's changing industries. She's looking to break out of retail into something different. And sometimes getting that first job to get you out, that's all you need. And there may be, this may be the entire rest of your career at this organization. You might find it's a wonderful environment. It also might be getting the foot in the door and then moving into a different role or opening up other
Yes.
paths in the future. But I am so excited for you, Lisa. I'm like, she's on the verge for so long. I'm like, she's going to find something and people are going to love her. Now, Lisa, do you have any advice to share with others on the call based on your experience in getting either this interview or this particular opportunity? Any advice for folks?
I think it's important to network, because really I got this job through somebody else who knew that the opening was coming up and that I would be a good fit for it. So that's how it happened. And I'm a huge social media stalker, we'll say. So I think it's important to go to the social media pages, go to LinkedIn, like and comment on the page of whoever you're going to interview with and the people. And that's huge. I think that's huge. And that has helped me a lot. Even just connecting with other people and meeting other people and them giving me other avenues, which is really kind of cool. And then Brenda, you are the one that I've been seeing. Maybe it's just that $100 thing. And you give me so much information on job searching and just making my LinkedIn profile better, optimizing it, which I appreciate.
Oh, I'm happy to help you. And I dropped the link in chat. By the way, I use a service called Text Expander, which I type in a couple of quick keystrokes and then it types. I don't type that fast, so don't be super impressed with me. But when people mention, if somebody mentions my book, for example, I'll put that in chat, or somebody mentions the 1 hour special rate that Lisa just mentioned, I drop it into chat in case someone else is interested. But going back to this particular opportunity, when you mention, hey, I'm a social media stalker, I want to just give a slight variation to that, because it's not just you, like other people say that too. And when I hear stalker, it sounds kind of negative. So I want to encourage you and others as well, when you're thinking about, like, when you're trying to like tell people about your social media usage, instead of saying I'm a social media stalker, say you either say I'm a heavy social media user or I'm very active on social media. Like, let's make the negative a positive. When you say stalker, it sounds kind of like you're looking through my trash and you're pulling out things that you shouldn't be, versus I'm a very active social media user, which is really what you are. You're super engaged. You know the buttons to press, follow, like, comment, things like that. And it shows that you're highly engaged in learning more about companies and organizations. And the reality is the information you're looking for on social media and reading and interacting with is public. Whereas when we stalk people, we're looking through their windows and in their back doors and through their chat, things that we're not supposed to be doing. So I'm on like a cause to like change the language from stalkers to active, or sometimes I tell people you're a reader, because that's what you are. You're not, sometimes people call, I'm a lurker. I lurk in the, I'm like, that sounds negative too. Like somebody in the dark in the corner is lurking around. You're a reader. You just don't interact with people on the platform. At any rate, shifting back to, I am so delighted for you. I'm going to be sad to see you go, but actually you said Monday through Thursday. So maybe you'll still be joining us once a month on Fridays.
I will. There's, we're starting that new thing next month. So yes, I'm anxious to learn more and meet new people.
Well, I knew this day was coming, Lisa. I'm so excited. I wish I had pom-poms right now, Sue, because I'd be like cheering my So Lisa is delighted. If you have any questions about adding that new role to your LinkedIn profile, getting maximum visibility, please feel free to reach out. Be happy to show you how to do that.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, I'm going to do that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Lisa. Okay. We're going to go to Jeff Schultz next. And Jeff, your name reminds me of, isn't it Charles Schultz who does like the Peanuts, the cartoon series? The Schultz name sounds familiar to me, and I'm not sure where it's from.
It's a little different spelling, but I always grew up saying, "Hey, that's my uncle."
There you go. Your claim to
that was kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So you had your hand raised, and I'm not sure if you had a question, success story, or if you're new and you want to introduce yourself. So what's happening with you, Jeff?
I am new, and I never expected to be in this forum. I was in a very good position for 7 years. And at the end of June, 8 of us were laid off unexpectedly, including a lot of longtime high performers. And so Brenda, you and I have been connected on LinkedIn for a number of years. You did some training with our organization, which was phenomenal and really helped our people elevate their profiles and understand how to use LinkedIn. And so first of all, let me go back and say, congratulations, Lisa, on that position. Secondly, I'm sort of like Mike, where I'm at a pivot point. like I said, didn't expect to be in this position, but now it's like where I was 7 years ago, really taking a step back and thinking about what's the best fit for me. It's not about titles or anything else. It's about an organization that can help me fulfill my passion for branding, strategic communication, leadership development, sales training, any number of things. So that's kind of where I am. And, I see your notifications every so often for these things and thought, hey, I've got nothing better to do on a Friday. Why not? Let's try it. So anyway, that's my short story.
Oh, that's late. I was looking at our messaging history as you were talking because I'm like, I feel like I know him. Where do I know? And when you
Yeah.
said we knew, so I looked at our messaging history, and the organization that you were with was one of the organizations. I do like a 2-part LinkedIn team training, and we did part 1 in March. I think it was either late February or March of 2020, and we were supposed to
Right.
do part 2 in April of 2020. And everyone remembers what happened in 2020, right? So
Yeah.
we never did part 2. Was the short story
Right.
because the pandemic hit and everything kind of closed down and whatnot. But the good thing is because Jeff and I communicated back and forth using LinkedIn messages, I just clicked on our messaging history and I could quickly figure out where we knew each other from. And I think that's an important element. I want to remind all of you, when you invite people to connect, always use a personalized message. And when even if you have a quick phone call with people or things like message them again, hey, it was great chatting with you today about X, Y, and Z, because then the next time they reach out to you and ask for something, you're like, oh, we have communicated a few times. We've been communicating back and forth.
Right.
So Jeff, I'm delighted that you're here. I do see that you have an end date on your last employer. And I want to remind you that don't change that. Like once you put an end date, don't change it again. But I want to remind you and for others as well, is if as soon as you don't have a current employer listed on your profile, you're actually penalized by LinkedIn search. And this is not something I think is fair, but it's something I want to bring to your attention, because if you are looking for a job and you want more recruiters to find your profile coming up in searches, not having a current position is actually working against you. One of the things that you and others on the call can do is, if you belong to any professional organizations, let's say you're a member of the Detroit Economic Club, for example, you could add that in to your experience section. You don't necessarily have to do notify network if you don't want that broadcast going out to people, but just put member of DEC and then whatever date you joined to current, and that would be moving it up to the top of your experience section so something's in there. So whether it's, a group like the DEC or a Chamber of Commerce or American Marketing Association, I see that you work in marketing, job, or, Toastmasters if you're in a public speaking group, anything that you hold a membership in, you could put that into your experience section in the top position. Alternatively, if you volunteer for any local community organizations, religious groups, things like that, you can put those in there. Or if you serve on a board, you can put any type of position in there really, but just to fill the gap. And the last thing you could do is just put in your targeted job title. And I think for you, it might be director of marketing or VP of marketing or something like that. And then you can link yourself to a company page that is called open to opportunities, open to new positions. Like there's company pages out there that people created for job seekers. I have a blog with some of those page examples. I'll see if I or Julia can find it. We'll drop it into chat in just a moment here. But the reason I bring that to your attention is I don't work for LinkedIn. I help people get a bigger slice of the LinkedIn pie, so to speak. But I also like to let you know what the rules of the game are, and as it relates to the algorithm, platform, search results. If you don't have a current employer, you're getting penalized by search. I don't think that's fair. So that's why I like to give suggestions on what you should put in there until. And in your case, Jeff, if you're considering, we were talking to Mike earlier about, maybe there's an alternative path. I'll be quite honest with you. That's what I started Meller Marketing as. It was never the intent of making a job, making what I'm doing today into a full-time role. It was, I'm going to set up a company page on LinkedIn just to have a place to put industry articles and things that weren't work related when I was working. And then when I left my corporate role, I moved Meller Marketing lower to the top position, put an end date at my current employer. And in that company page that I created for Meller Marketing, I said, while I'm looking for my next full-time role in marketing leadership in Metro Detroit, I'm open to project and contract work through my consulting business, Meller Marketing, where I help people with social media management, marketing strategy, et cetera, et cetera. So that helps to say, hey, recruiters, my main priority is still finding a full-time job. But hey, everybody else, yeah, if you want some help in a part-time basis with, and then categorize what the work is that you're open to, let them know. And I did that for a little while in the beginning. And it really was when I left my corporate job, like, I'm going to get another corporate job. And then I started getting approached bit by bit. And I think over the course of 3 to 4 months, my mind started to go, maybe I'll do. And I had other clients that would say, Brenda, you don't need to go back to work. You can make your own business. And I kept saying, you're crazy. I can't do that. I got to have benefits and I got to have a salary. And lo and behold, it was December of 2017. And I made the decision. I'm like, if I put the same effort into marketing myself that I did into finding a job, I could probably have a business. And in January of 2018 was when I made the full decision not to go look for a job anymore. So I just mentioned that to you, Jeff and Mike and others. If you're thinking about dabbling and considering consulting or coaching or whatever, working for yourself as a part-time or as a possible alternative career path, my recommendation is set up a LinkedIn company page. To do so, it's entirely free. I've got a blog. I'll drop it into chat in just a moment here. And you don't have to have an LLC or a registered business name. What I would recommend is just do a quick Google search for whatever you're going to use as your placeholder name. So let's just say we do MG Consulting for Mike, for example, and JS Consulting for Jeff Schultz. I just made that up. I don't know what that is. I would do a LinkedIn search for that word and click on companies, make sure there's not another company page with that same name, and then do a Google search as well. Make sure nobody else is using that name. As long as nobody else is using it, go ahead and set up a company page on LinkedIn. You will have to upload a logo, put a brief description on there, and maybe one post that says, hey, welcome to the official LinkedIn company page for JS Consulting. Visit Jeff Schultz's profile for more info. So like reroute people back to you. But in that at least gives you a place where people can look and investigate if they're interested in some of your coaching and consulting work. And more importantly, if you're still thinking about finding a full-time job, it helps to fill the gap that's created when you put an end date on your current employer, again, to override the search penalty. So I want to pause just for a second. Did that all make sense to you, Jeff? I'm speaking to everyone, but I'm going to say, did that make sense to you?
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the benefits of being in a group like this, is to get those tidbits and insights and whatever. So I think that was great information, and I'm very appreciative. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I see that Julia has, as I've been doing this, Julia has been dropping the links for the blogs, and she's awesome, isn't she? I think she kind of knows some of the ones I reference pretty regularly, and she knows exactly where to find them. But a lot of times what I do, if I can't remember where they are, I literally Google how to create a free LinkedIn company page, Brenda Meller, and it finds my blog. So as long as I put my name in there, it finds it pretty quickly, rather than go to my website, click on blog, click on search, go to Google and search it. And it's a really great way of doing so. So thank you for that, Jeff. We also had Adriana with a success story. So Adriana, I'm going to pull you up next. And then I want to encourage others. I want to do some questions here today too. So we want to hear your questions about job search. Type in the word question in all caps in chat. Type in the question. Don't be shy. This is your time. I hear people saying, well, I asked a lot of questions last time. I don't want to like monopolize. We've got 30 minutes. Monopolize. Please feel free. And if you don't have a specific question, here's a question. Can you review my LinkedIn profile? Type in the word question, profile review. Can you review my profile? And we will give you some pointers. I'll have the All-Stars weigh in on that as well. All right, Adriana, you are up. What is your success story you wanted to share with us?
Not a success story yet. I'm new to the group, so I just wanted to introduce.
Okay. Sorry. I thought I saw success. I apologize.
Yeah. So I'm Adriana. I found this group. I had a connection who liked the page, and I ended up just clicking on it and wanted to see what it was about. But I voluntarily left my previous position as a financial advisor. I was a financial advisor at a really good firm in Manhattan, and it was kind of all looking good for somebody who wanted that position. But I come from a family of entrepreneurs, and I knew that's not what I wanted to do long term. I couldn't see myself doing it 5 years from now, 10 years from now. So I was like, what am I doing? Like, if it's not what I want in the long run. So I kind of just made the jump and since then, I've been a little bit humbled by the application process that I've been coming across, but I've been doing some side work for my parents' business and getting some experience in diving into other realms when it comes to like marketing and sales. So I'm trying to find other areas that I'm interested in.
Well, this is definitely an exploration process when you're going back into the job search market. And sometimes we do this by choice. Like Adriana said, this isn't enough. I need to do something else with my life and get out of the thing I don't like to do and find something that I do really enjoy doing. And sometimes you loved your job and your employer taps you on the shoulder or brings you into an awkward Zoom or says on a Friday at 4 o'clock, always a Friday, right? Hey, you have a meeting with HR, can you jump on? You're like, what's it about? Nobody will tell you anything and your heart starts racing, right? But wherever, whatever led you to where you are, you're here now and you're like, okay, now you're, I don't know, everybody has a little bit of this moment like, oh crap, what am I going to do now? Pardon my language, but oh crap, what am I going to do now? And then you're also, it's exciting, it's exhilarating to think about, I can do anything I want. But it's also, things start to get real pretty quick and you start to think about replacing income and getting benefits and things like that and exploring. And, my advice for you, Adriana, is there's a great community of people that are on the call here today. We've got 48 people that are on the call, people that you can connect with. There may be other people that are in a similar situation or have some similar backgrounds that could help to offer you advice. We've also got a LinkedIn group, and I'm going to share the group on screen right now as I'm talking about this. And this is only open to people who are a part of our Zoom calls. And I will always screen people in. I'm going to drop the link inside chat right now. Oh, Julie already beat me. Look at that. I was like ready. And she was like, I'm ahead of you, like by 30 milliseconds on there. So if you visit this group, it's called VIP Job Seeker Resources by Meller Marketing. When you first go to the group link, there'll be a request to join button. And I will have to admit you. So it's kind of like you knock on the door and I'm going to look through the peephole. Who are you? And why do you want inside of our private fun clubhouse here? And then I will admit you into the group if you do in fact look like you are a job seeker, if you've been someone who's on the phone call here. And when you go inside the group, you're going to notice there are 877 members who are a part of the group. You can click on show all and you can scroll through and see, even at a quick glance, other individuals who maybe are in a similar industry as you, or maybe names that you've seen on these phone calls, and you can invite them to connect. And it's a really great way of building up a referral network for yourself by connecting with other job seekers that are a part of this group. So please come to the group and you'll see folks. And I saw Sakshi is on the call with us here today. So I will approve you into that inside the group. And then just so you know, when you come inside the group, you'll get more out of the group if you put something into the group. So the first thing I recommend that you do is scroll through and see what other people are talking about and interact with their posts, whether it's a like or a comment, interact with the group inside here. At the beginning of these calls, I don't know if you all noticed, but we run like a looping slideshow thing and we'll share some of the job postings in that looping slideshow. There was one particular opportunity somebody shared here in the group. And I don't know if the gentleman is on the call here today, but it's somebody who's looking for an admissions position in colleges or universities. And Kevin Kane, who's a member of our community, posted an assistant director of admission job opening. I think this is in New York. The person I think was in Arizona. But I love the fact that he's like, hey, I know there's somebody in the group in higher education looking for a role, and he posted it inside the group. So do be sure to check that out. It's a really great group and you can network and meet other people. We are a fabulous community, are we not? I think we are. We're a fabulous community. So check that out. I'll mention that to Adriana and for others as well. And I will check the group several times every week. I'll admit you right away. Share resources, share links to other events. You can share articles you read on LinkedIn. The only thing I ask is that you don't sell inside the group. So if you go in and you say, hey, are you a job seeker that you need to change your 401k? I can help you with that transition. I will take you out of the group because nobody's here to sell. We're only here to share resources. That's why it's called Job Seeker Resources. Okay. That's my ask for all of you. All right, Adriana, well, we're glad that you found us. We hope that we are providing you some awesome resources to get going with your job search. I'm going to move us along here. And I see that we had 2 questions and I think 2 hands raised. So we'll go, Sherry, you'll go first, and then Julia will be on deck. So Sherry, did you have a question for us?
Yes, I have a question. I have finally decided to dive into the very confusing world of ATS resume rewriting. So I just wanted to find out from the group, do people have a particular favorite that they really like? And I'll share the one that I was working on yesterday with people.
I'm going to
Resume,
ask what was it?
resume nerd.
Resume nerd. Okay, I'm going to ask the all-stars because I know there's a couple of folks who specialize in resume writing as a part of the work that they do. Do any of the all-stars have any thoughts on ATS systems or tools that Sherry and others can use for resume? I'll say resume optimization. I'm not sure if that's the exact phrase or not that people use. I'm going to use it and maybe it'll stick. I don't know. Resume improvement, resume matching with job postings, things like that. I think the goal is to get through the ATS with the best possible version of your resume. So Kenneth, Mindy, Sue, any thoughts on that? Any of the resume tools that are out there? I'm waiting to see if any of you unmute yourself or have any thoughts on any of those tools that are out there. Nobody. Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts on ATS tools? The floor is open. If you have any thoughts and if you've used some resume tools, you can either unmute yourself or you can go inside chat and let us know. I see Julia, Nicole, Mary. Oh, Mindy has raised her hand. So let's go Mindy first. And then Nicole looks like she might have something to offer. So we'll go Mindy first. And then Nicole's like about ready to jump into the camera right now. So Mindy, what did you have to say? And then we'll go to Nicole next.
Hey, Sherry, how you doing today?
Wonderful. Nice to see you.
Good. So I'm wondering if you had, whoops, that was my Siri, answered how I'm feeling. Have you tried the resume builder on LinkedIn?
No, I have a good resume, and I did use the word builder. I'm trying to optimize. I agree with what Brenda is saying. So I'm concerned that I haven't been getting through in the opportunities that I've been applying for. And I really wanted to up that game. So I did use Resume Nerd yesterday. And, it's a little bit of a process, but that's an easier site to use than I found JobScan. I found JobScan to be kind of prickly.
Okay. What I recommend is that you take your resume and you upload it into LinkedIn, into the job section. You'll see resumes to the left. You upload your resume up there and they will tell you, they'll ask you what kind of job you're looking for. And then they're going to tell you exactly where your keywords match and where they don't match. So,
yeah.
And also have an ATS version of it. So I would recommend doing that because it's there and you might as well try it. And most jobs you're going to find on LinkedIn anyhow. So it's very important that you're using the terminology that LinkedIn is using for their for example, job titles, and not making up job titles. Like for me, like I came from HR, but lots of people in HR are called chief people officer, which doesn't exist on LinkedIn, right? So I recommend you go into LinkedIn, go into the job section and upload your resume there and get started there for sure.
Thank you. That's a great suggestion.
Okay, absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much. And Nicole, did you have something to add to that or did you have a different question?
So the other day, it was a couple of days ago, I saw this post from a recruiter who basically said, somebody is circulating this post that's 98% incorrect about ATS, et cetera, and I'm really tired of it. Stop it. Right. So I went ahead and contacted her directly and I asked her about how ATS works. And I was very surprised. She actually came back and said, well, it's not working the way that people think it is. So because I was very paranoid about ATS, like I'm to the point now where I'm all like, oh, the ATS is around the block. Right. So apparently she said it does filter out some things based off of keyword searches and a couple of other types of searches. But then she said it's not necessarily throwing things out. Like people think that their resume is not being seen by a human. She said that basically your resume will end up getting kind of like, when you split up like apples and oranges. So apples over here and oranges over there, and a recruiter still looks at it or is supposed to still look at it, I should say. And then a human is the one that ultimately decides to cast your resume away or keep your resume. So that really gave me a lot of clarity, because I honestly pictured the machine like a process or a program that was like taking people's resumes and like literally just sucking them into a black hole, because that's really what it seemed like to me. So
I will spit out my
yeah.
coffee on that one.
I'm sorry.
I'm like seeing it like it's almost like resumes are being filed into like a paper shredder. Like that's where they're going right in there and nobody's ever reading them. You know, it's like a visual.
But yeah,
Here, take that.
Yeah, but when I saw the post, it was, I've seen some emotional posts before, but she was really like in your face, like whoever posted this, stop it.
If you can find it again, Nicole, reshare the post into our job seeker group, or even just tag me into comments and I'll do it, because I'm always like interested in topics like that. So
I will totally do just that. But my other thing was that I had a success because I finally got an interview for next week. So they've been going around and around like, well, we're looking into getting you the interview. And I'm like, okay, well, how far you got to look? Either I'm on the calendar or I'm not. So they finally got me scheduled.
Let me make it easy for you. Let's get our calendars out now. So anything you can share with fellow job seekers that can help them with getting the interview based on your experience?
Okay, so this is going to sound slightly not great. So basically what I do is I have a network of recruiters that I usually will make a list of, and I don't necessarily harass those recruiters, but I'm very vigilant in communicating.
You're persistent.
Yes.
You are professional and persistent. We're gonna change all the negative words on this call. Like when we said, what was it, stalking or whatever earlier, and we said researching. Yeah. We're gonna go from annoying to professional and persistent. We're going to be positive about all things, because most job seekers won't. They will apply and they'll wait and they'll wait and they'll wait and they'll give up.
Can't do that. The reason is because I've sat next to managers and I've seen what happens, and what they'll do is they'll say, oh, I'm about to look at these resumes right quick. Then so-and-so comes by and talks about some golf game they saw, and they get sucked into that conversation. Then they I'm gonna go get some coffee. Then somebody runs to the office area and it's like, there's a meeting. Then they walk away. Then they're like, I'll look at those resumes later. Then they come back and they're like, why is this paper on my desk? So therefore, I don't wait.
Yeah. And I see somebody said, how do you reach out to them if you're not responding? I have some thoughts on that, and I want to see if the All-Stars do as well. But Nicole, what did you do? Did you message them? Did you email them? Tell us what your approach was.
As soon as I knew that my contract end date was approaching, I began to contact people and say, good news, I'm going to be available for assignments. And here's what I have to offer. And I sent out these messages to various recruiters that I've either already worked with or that I had already communicated with, because I never stop communicating with recruiters, because I'm one of those individuals that does back-to-back contract work. Because you can get it. That's pretty much it. It's work and you can get it. So I do that. And when I did that though, 3 out of the 15 that I sent out came back. Those 3 that came back. Yeah. And then the other one that I got submitted to 3 other jobs this week. Okay. And all of those people actually found me on LinkedIn after I had made changes, or I had contacted somebody doing a warm connection request. And then when you get the thing that they accepted your connection, they have like a list of other people that are in their network, right? And when you go through that, then you can find other people. And I found like other recruiters through the recruiters that I already connected with, and was just like, hey, you want to connect? And they were like, yeah, sure. And one lady actually came back. I didn't think I'd actually hear back from her really after I connected with her, because she's in another state, etc. And she said, I came across this job and I thought of you because we just connected 2.5 days ago. And I said, well, great.
That's awesome. I'm just loving, Nicole, you have had a transformation. And I'm going to take a little bit of credit for that, because you're in my community, you're in the boot camp group and things like that. But I think it's like you figured it out. And I wish Joey Himmelfarb was on the call right now, because you know how Joey's like one of our all-stars. He's out in New York. And if he sees people complaining and negative, he jumps in and he gets in your face and he's like, all right, listen. He's like, you don't do that, you do this. And I think Joey would be so proud to hear that when you reached out to recruiters initially, you said, I've got some great news. I'm going to be available for new opportunities starting such and such date. And here's what I have to offer. I was like slow clapping in the background at that one, because how cool is it that you use something that could be a negative, your contract is ending. And instead of, woe is me and what, like, you got out there and you got in their faces and you're like, hey, great news. I'm now going to be available. And here's what I have to offer to you. And you turn the negative into a positive. And you made it a what's in it for you. Like, here's what I am as a candidate. You got 3 responses from that. And there is the other thing I think I wanted to touch on. There is a slow and gradual process here, because when you reach out to people with that, some of them are not going to respond back at all. Some you're planting a seed and they're like, okay, what do I have? What do I have? And it takes like a couple weeks, couple months sometimes for something to come up for you, but they're like super impressed with you. Right. And others, you might get an immediate conversation, but there's not an immediate opportunity. So it's a gradual process. I mean, we would love to say, and I know you had like one opportunity, it was like an interview on your last day of work or whatever. It was like, would have been great to have a job on your last day, to be like going out and starting right away. Sometimes that happens, but the reality is sometimes it's a longer process.
That broke my heart. And I tried to contact her, and then it was just crickets. Like, I'm like, hey, because she had I talked to her, she was like, well, you're in the final round for people that they're picking to interview. And I'm like, oh, great, I'm probably going to get an interview. And then she just disappeared. Like, I could not reach her again. I was like, oh dear. But then I was like, well, I don't really have time to cry about it. And I actually had talked to Joe about something similar to this, because he interviewed me for his book, Don't Paint Your Kitchen. And
oh, he did? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you in the book?
There may be a Spunky Nicole in the book. It's possible. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, now I gotta like reread the book, because I'm like, I read the book cover to cover. It was a great book. By the way, if anyone has the link for Joey's book, drop it into chat, since we're talking about his book right now. But he has a book, Don't Paint Your Kitchen, for job seekers, which the short story is like, when you're thinking about making a job search and you're sitting in your kitchen and you're like frustrated and you look up and you're like, I really should paint the walls in these kitchen. And you get distracted from your job search instead of focusing on the things that you do need to do. But at any rate, going back to Nicole's story here, super excited for you, Nicole. I feel like Nicole's like Lisa was for us for a little bit, like something's happening. Things are exciting. Like it's imminent. I feel like it's imminent. You've got positive momentum going forward. You know the approach. And I hear some people asking questions about how do you follow up? You follow up with the assumption, and as Nicole said, that you're just busy. Somebody came up and started talking about the golf game as you were pulling out the resumes. You got sidetracked. A month goes by. All of the other candidates have stopped communicating. You're the one that still persists and reaches out and says, hey, I just want to let you know I'm still interested in the position for XYZ at your company. Here's how you can get a hold of me to learn more. If I don't hear back, I would do this when I was job seeking. If I don't hear back, I'll reach out to you again in another week by email. So I wouldn't say this, but this is like in parentheses. I'm not going away until you tell me leave me alone or you bring me in for an interview, and just be polite, professional, persistent. In addition to emailing, if you have their email address, maybe message them once or twice on LinkedIn, maybe not the same frequency as email, but if they are posting on LinkedIn, find their LinkedIn posts and add a thoughtful comment. Like you want to be like right here for them, like all the time, like in their peripheral, reminding them about you, that you're still around, you still exist, but you're being professional and polite. You're not being creepy or stalkerish. You're not like driving in front of their house, looking in their windows. Are they home? Yeah, they're home. Why haven't they called me? No, you're not doing that. You're being professional and polite. You're working through the channels that are open to you as a candidate. So Nicole, there's a light inside you right now, and I'm delighted to see and happy to see that you're making some progress. So congratulations to you, and thank you for being up on stage here today. All right, I'm going to keep us moving along if that's okay. All right, Mike had a question. How do you get a copy of the chat notes and transcript of the Zoom sessions? He's more of a team user. Mike, I get on Teams and I'm like confused. I'm like, how do you do anything inside? We're all a little bit different. Inside Zoom, in the bottom where it says to everyone, there's a couple little boxes and icons, 3 little dots, the 3 ellipses. If you click on the 3 ellipses, you'll see an option that will say save chat. And then when I click on it, it says chat saved, show in folder. And if you click on that, it will go to your downloads folder and you can pull it up from there. Similarly, for the transcript, if you click on like the captions button, there's a view full transcript. And I believe at the bottom of that, isn't there a way, I think you can click on to save the transcript down, if I'm not mistaken. Is Christopher Johnson still in the house right now? Or did he leave?
That is
Christopher?
correct.
Is that right? Can you save the transcript down too? Am I remembering correctly?
Absolutely.
Okay. By the way, Christopher, the question came up for me and it came up for someone else this week. So I'm going to ask it on the call. And I'm not sure if it was the last Zoom update that prompted this or if it was just a PC related issue. But I had this happen to me where it was last week's Zoom call. It happened to me once, and then it happened one other time where my screen went blank, like completely black. And then when it came back on, my video was completely turned off. And I was at a conference this week with Larry Miller, who is a great IT guy. And Larry kind of helped me walk through. So it was something to do with my graphics card or my video card. I have a newer laptop. But there's another person who reached out to me this week that said the same thing. I can't load Zoom in another window. I have to view on PC, which doesn't allow you to do transcripts and chat. There's some limitations with it. So do you know anything about this? Is this a new version of Zoom that's prompting this, or were those circumstances just coincidental? What do you think?
Probably coincidental. It doesn't ring a bell in terms of what I've encountered.
Okay.
If it's a newer machine, then the graphics card should be robust and able to handle anything Zoom requires.
Yeah. And there's no limitation that you're aware of, like the other person that reached out to me, and she might be on this call. I don't want to out her unless she wants to be told. But the other person who said, she said her laptop is set up so that it's preferential for Microsoft programs, and it wouldn't allow her to add in a download of Zoom or where you can export Zoom and run a local version. And I said, that seems kind of weird. I think there's something in your settings you can override. Because I can't believe any laptop wouldn't want to play with Zoom. That's my understanding. Would that be your understanding as well?
Absolutely true. With the Zoom, you do have the option of running it through a browser,
Yes.
but that's a lesser experience. Using the app is always the best option.
Yeah, so I think for both of us, we were running it from browser, and you don't get all the bells and the whistles, and there's a couple things that are missing from it. So that's really helpful. By the way, guys, Chris is my Zoom go-to expert person. He always is great in answering questions like that. And in addition to helping with producing virtual events and helping people with events, he's a really great knowledge source for that. So I just want to give him a little shout out. And I do know that he provides hourly coaching too. Or at least you did. Maybe I'm saying something that's not true anymore. Is that still true? Do you do still hourly coaching for your clients as well?
That is true. Yeah. Sometimes when they don't want me to run the event, they just want to know how they can run it better. They hire me and I walk them through that.
Good now. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Christopher, for answering that question. Appreciate your insights, and I'm glad he was on the call so I could get that particular question answered today. Okay, I'm going to start to now wind us down for the day. And I hope we got through all of your questions here for today. If we didn't, maybe there were others that got to answer your questions. You can also go inside the LinkedIn group. Alternatively, you can message me or any of the other all-stars that were on the call here today. I want to just do some reminders as we were kind of looking to start to wind down the meeting. First of all, I want to let everyone know the Friday VIP job seeker office hours will be continuing. Some people are saying they're going away. They're not going away, but I am moving from a weekly frequency to a once a month frequency. And what I'm doing is I'm moving into a program where I'm offering different topics every Friday. I'm going to share the screen here so you can see what I'm saying as I'm describing this. Some people are a little bit more visual processors. Some people are a little bit more auditory, but let me just share my screen here as I'm doing this. So if you go to the webpage, mellermarketing.com/VIP, which I'm going to drop into chat here, you can see here that starting in August 2023, our VIP office hours will be changing. So every week I'm going to do the first 4 Fridays of the week. There's 5. I'm taking the 5th Friday off here, but the first Friday of the month will be for VIP job seekers. So it'll be the same call that we're doing here today. It's just going to be once a month starting in August of 2023. Now, as I'm saying this, today is Friday, July 14th. We've got 2 more weekly calls that we'll be doing in July, and then we'll be moving to a monthly frequency starting in August. So that will be the first Friday of every month will be for VIP job seekers. So if you're in career transition, I would highly encourage you to come into those calls. By the way, if you see others on LinkedIn that announce that they're laid off, struggling with their job search, things like that, still continue to tag me and just say, hey, Brenda Meller may have some resources that can help, and tag Kenneth and Mindy and others. Feel free, Sue and others too. But if you tag me, kind of like you're winking to me, and I'll wink back in the form of a comment, and I'll invite people to come out to the job seeker office hours. Okay. So feel free to do that. That's the first Friday of the month. The second Friday, the topic will be focused on LinkedIn and marketing tips for individuals who are coaches, consultants, speakers, and authors. Okay. As I am evolving and growing my business, I'm now starting to serve additional communities beyond job seekers. I have been doing this for a while, but I'm putting more of a focus into it. I have a podcast called Enthusiastically Self-Employed, and I have tailored that to coaches, consultants, speakers, and authors. I have a program called The Recipe for Social Selling. So I'm now starting to open up office hours for those individuals. That will be the second Friday of the month. So if you're thinking about a side hustle, a side business, or maybe not looking for a job, but going into business for yourself, come on to the second Friday with us. And similar to these calls where I have all-stars that are in career strategy roles helping out, I'll be looking for all-stars that support coaches, consultants, speakers, and authors to join me on the calls as well. So do stay tuned for more info on that. The third Friday of the month, we'll be talking about LinkedIn company pages. So all questions will be related to starting your page, questions about using your page, growing followers, using it for lead generation, all that other good stuff, or even managing your page if you're managing it for your company. So all topics will be related to that. And the fourth Friday will be focused on individuals who are social media managers and marketers. So again, focused on LinkedIn and marketing tips for those categories. But what I will say, if I have a job seeker come on to the fourth Friday and say, I have a question about using LinkedIn for my job search, I will say, hey, today's focus is for social media managers and marketers. You'll probably want to come on to the first Friday. So I've designed lanes intentionally for each of these topics. I'll be redirecting you, keeping the topic focused on each of those. And if you're interested, if you go to the Friday VIP webpage, there's going to be links under each to update to RSVP rather for the event. Now, the one for the first Friday for job seekers, we haven't updated it yet because I don't want to mess everything up. I'm going to wait until after our Friday, July 28th phone call, and then we'll go in and we will make the update so that the link that you've registered for will keep you on the first Friday of the month. All the other Fridays will be canceled off for the rest of the year, just so you know, in there. And then if you scroll down, you're also going to see the second Friday, there's an RSVP link. It's different. It's an entirely different Zoom link. So if you come on this call, it's not going to be open. You'll have to go to this one to get the next Zoom link. Third Friday, same thing, an entirely different Zoom link. So you'll need to RSVP for that. You are welcome if you want to come on all 4 calls, if you're interested in topics that are relevant for those audiences. But I'll just remind you, we're not going to be doing the job seeker focus every week from now on. It will only be the first Friday of the month. Part of the reason I did that is everything has a product life cycle, so to speak, an event life cycle, so to speak. And I want to make sure that I'm making these exciting, relevant, that you're planning to continue to come week after week. I also rely upon my all-stars to help me, and I don't want to extend them too far in asking for their volunteer services week after week after week. So I thought maybe reducing the frequency would help to keep them engaged as well. Okay. That's why I'm doing it. And the other part is for me, just evolving my business. I want to stay self-employed, you guys. I do not want to go back and get a job. And I've got to make sure I'm speaking to my target audiences and I'm bringing more people into the Brenda Meller ecosystem, so to speak, to learn more about me and to surround themselves with others that are in similar roles. All right. With all of that said, I want to thank you for being on the call here today. I want to run through the list and just say thank you to each of you. Thank you to Adriana, Amanda, Bev, Colleen, David, Dean, Debbie, Dell, E, Esmeralda, Julia. I see you've got some iPhone users, Isha, Jeff, Joan, Carl, Katie, Laura, Lisa, Mary, Melissa, Mike, Nicole, Oksana, Randy, S, Scott, Shelly, Sherry, Stewart, Tamara, Tina, Vic the Pie Man, and Wendy B. My name is Brenda Meller. I help business professionals and job seekers get a bigger slice of the LinkedIn pie. I know you're probably not happy to be on the call here today because it means you're not working, but I want to remind you that we are here for you until you find a job. This is an excellent community of surrounding yourself with fellow job seekers. As you are going through this roller coaster of emotions that is your job search right now and your career evolution, I want you to know that we are here for you. You are not alone. I really want you to know you are not alone in this process. It can be very isolating when you're in career transition, but there are many other people that are in the same boat as you that are willing to help and to support you. Okay, so please reach out, connect with fellow job seekers on the call, tell others about this group as well. And remember, my goal is to not see you on these calls, not because I don't like you, but because my goal is to get you back to work or into a career path that takes you into a happy place. All right. With that said, I'm going to stop the recording right now. I will keep the Zoom open for a few minutes for those of you that want to download the chat and transcript, and then I'll end this at about 11:10 a.m. Looking forward to seeing you all again next Friday. And thank you again to the All-Stars for helping out on the call. And a very special thank you to my special guest, Christopher Johnson, for making a celebrity cameo appearance today. Have a great weekend, everyone. It's been a pleasure seeing all of you. Oh, and next week, Kenneth mentioned we're going to be in New York City. So Kenneth and I are going to pop in at the start of our call, but I'm going to have the All-Stars run in our absence. So I'll just let you know that the call will still be on. I'll make a quick appearance. We're going to be at LinkedIn headquarters in New York City. How exciting is that? We're going to pop on and say hi, and the other All-Stars will be running the call in our absence. All right, that's all I got for you. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you next week.